Welcome to Half 2-4. Today in the show, the transfer reset of number 9s in Europe and the secret squad priorities of Manchester United. Dusan Vlahovic officially becomes a free agent who will snap up the free super striker. The Germany national team is preparing for the arrival of Jurgen Klopp, while the fate of Nagelsmann will be decided by the ongoing World Cup in America. And Amsterdam's Ajax is preparing a crazy transfer risk with Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. We talk about all this and much more right now. The summer transfer window of 2026 opens the season of the big hunt for elite goal scorers. The leading publication, The Athletic, has just gathered a closed boardroom of the best football scouts, analysts, and technical directors to form a ranking of the 9 most important center forwards on the planet. Around the leaders of this list, a crazy behind-the-scenes scramble is already unfolding, involving insane sums and loud squad promises. Let us break down this fresh scouting report in detail and find out where the main kings of attack will actually continue their careers. If we guess the options from this expert chart, then in the highest first tier, an incredible heat reigns. Heading the list is Nigerian gunner Victor Osimhen, around whom the main transfer saga of the summer is unfolding. The 27-year-old forward has had a fantastic season, scoring 22 goals for Turkish Galatasaray. But keeping him in Istanbul is practically impossible, as real sharks have come out for him. The main favorite of the market is French PSG, who under the leadership of Luis Enrique is looking for a finisher. In addition, Manchester United is sleeping and seeing the Nigerian in their squad, planning to get rid of Joshua Zirkzee. But the price tag of 100 to 150 million euros and the strict limits of financial fair play significantly slow down the maneuvers of the Red Devils. Meanwhile, London's Chelsea and Arsenal have significantly cooled down towards the player due to cosmic financial demands, and Catalan Barcelona has officially replied with a refusal, since their only goal to replace Lewandowski is Julian Alvarez. Turinese Juventus, due to an empty wallet, has dropped out completely. So Fabrizio Romano assures there are no signatures yet, and a real fierce battle will unfold purely between Paris and Manchester. Interestingly, going as number 2 in the first tier of the elite is Portuguese Gonçalo Ramos, whose departure from PSG is confirmed by all leading insiders. Despite the 1 titles, Ramos became only a player of the deep bench, and his almighty agent Jorge Mendes has already been looking for a new sanctuary for a month. The Parisians are ready to register a huge loss and let the forward go for a modest 30 to 35 million euros, just to unload the wage bill for the purchase of the same Osimhen. The main priority for the Portuguese is Atletico Madrid, as Diego Simeone adores such intensity of pressing. In parallel, Mendes is leading substantive negotiations with Juventus, while for Milan, even such a price tag is too high. Ramos himself hopes to fire at the upcoming World Cup in America, where he so far is only a backup to the 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo, to secure himself a fat contract in the Premier League. Third place in the elite list is occupied by Egyptian Omar Marmoush, who found himself at a crossroads at Manchester City. Since Pep Guardiola left the team and Enzo Maresca becomes the new boss, a big squad cleaning begins at the Etihad. Marmoush, who was bought for 70 million euros from Eintracht, never managed to become a worthy backup to Erling Haaland and had a weak season, scoring only 3 goals in the championship. The bosses of the Citizens are ready to let the 27-year-old player go for 50 to 60 million pounds to completely return their investments. A queue has already lined up for the Egyptian. Tottenham and Aston Villa are looking for speed in the market, while Barcelona and Atletico Madrid are keeping their finger on the pulse as an affordable rotation option. Concrete official negotiations will begin right during the World Cup. But the real icing on the cake in this report is the second tier, where the Athletic experts unexpectedly placed Marcus Rashford, Nicholas Jackson, and also the Brazilian forward of Brentford, Igor Thiago. And here it gets very interesting. Authoritative insider Ben Jacobs notes that Manchester United has identified precisely Igor Thiago as its main secret priority for the summer. While long and complex negotiations for Osimhen continue, the Red Devils are already feeling the ground regarding the Brazilian. However, the management of Brentford has taken an ironclad position and plans to demand an insane £70 million for their goal scorer, so negotiations at Ellen Road are only beginning to gain momentum. Finally, in the third tier, which is an ideal guide for the wealthy middle class and ambitious clubs, Gonçalo Garcia, Fisnik Aslani, and the prolific Sergio Guirassy have established themselves. Any movement in the first tier will instantly trigger a chain reaction that will force these figures to actively change their registration. My opinion? The published analytical report is simply a splendid guide to unloading football budgets this summer. Osimhen, undoubtedly, remains the main superstar. But paying €150 million for him in conditions of financial monitoring is a huge risk that is perhaps only within the power of Qatari sheikhs. On the other hand, Manchester United's squad move towards Igor Thiago for £70 million looks like a much more pragmatic and logical decision for rebuilding the attack. And what do you think, friends, who from this elite 9 of forwards will eventually pull off the loudest move of the summer? And is it worth it for the Red Devils to buy Thiago instead of Osimhen? Considering elite forward transfers, it is impossible to pass by the main bomb of this summer and an absolutely free option on the market. Dusan Vlahovic is officially leaving Turin's Juventus. The negotiations between the bosses of Juve and the entourage of the Serbian forward at Contenasa have completely failed and are finally terminated. Let us look behind the scenes of this courtroom collapse, find out the financial appetites of the player, and break down the queue of top clubs that have already lined up for the free striker. If we analyze the financial side of this squad catastrophe for Juventus, then the situation looks simply wild. The top forward, who at the time was bought from Fiorentina for over €80 million, is let go absolutely for free in the status of a free agent, as his contract expires on the 30th of June. The reason for such a behind-the-scenes dead end was the policy of strict expenditure reduction in Turin. The bosses offered the Serb to extend the agreement with a significant salary drop to €6 million per year plus bonuses. However, Vlahovic and his agents demanded a minimum of €1 million net per season, as well as astronomical signing-on fees and commissions. The club could not go for such carousels, and Chiellini directly stated that with similar financial appetites, the forward will look for a new team exclusively in foreign top leagues. Since the 26-year-old top striker in the very prime of his strength is available for free, a crazy war has unfolded for him. One of the main favorites is the Munich side Bayern. The Germans are looking for a powerful number 9 who can provide direct competition or qualitatively back up Harry Kane as Nicholas Jackson returns to Chelsea. Also, Newcastle United claims the signature, where after a failed season, Eddie Howe urgently needs a prolific spearhead. Although Dusan's insane salary of over €400,000 a week can hit the wage bill of the Magpies hard, in parallel, the situation is monitored by London's Chelsea. The management of the Blues is shocked by the price tag on Victor Osimhen, so the free Serb is seen as an ideal squad move for financial fair play. Even Catalan Barcelona is keeping its finger on the pulse, though their interest will depend on the fate of the Julian Alvarez transfer. Currently, there are no concrete agreements. Agents are only collecting proposals. Losing a forward of such caliber for free is a colossal managerial failure for Juventus, and at the same time, a real gift for the entire European market. Of course, the demands regarding commissions and signing-on fees will be cosmic, but for the same Chelsea or Bayern, it is a much more profitable maneuver than paying over $100 million for Osimhen. So, we will soon find out in which club the Serb will end up. The Spanish presidential race around Real Madrid has finally turned into a race of empty promises. And behind the scenes, a loud scandal flared up involving Jurgen Klopp. Presidential candidate Enrique Riquelme made another pompous statement, publicly announcing the German specialist as the main goal of his project. He assured that in case of victory in the elections, he would immediately contact the coach. However, the reaction from the Germans' camp was lightning fast and ruthless. Let us break down this behind-the-scenes marker, hear the official response of Klopp, and find out why the speculations around the future of the legend can be finally ended. If we evaluate this situation through the prism of managerial changes, then Riquelme's pompous statements are ordinary pre-election politics. To the loud outburst of the Spaniard, Jurgen Klopp's official agent, Marc-Andre, instantly reacted. In a comment for insider Florian Plettenberg, he put all the dots above the I. It's annoying. Jurgen Klopp is happy in his role at Red Bull and has no ambitions to work as a coach at a club. The page with Real Madrid is completely closed for Jurgen. However, Kosike emphasized the only position that truly is attractive and desirable for Klopp in the future is the Germany national team. And right here, the most interesting part begins, because the leaders of German football know perfectly well about Jurgen's desire, and nobody will definitely lose such a chance at the head of the Bundesteam. Currently, the German machine is successfully managed by Julian Nagelsmann. His contract with the federation is calculated until the 31st of July of 2028. However, behind the scenes, everyone understands the future of Julian directly depends on how the Bundesteam performs at the ongoing World Cup in America. If the Germans fail at the World Cup, Nagelsmann will leave, and Klopp will head the Germany national team already this year. If the performance is successful, Julian will work out the contract, and Jurgen will take his place. The only exception will be a scenario in which Nagelsmann wins this World Cup altogether. Then he will decide for himself whether to extend the agreement with the federation. In any case, Klopp's next place of work is already determined behind the scenes, and no Madrid carousels will change this. As for me, the attempts of Spanish politicians to trade Klopp's name look funny. Jurgen has clearly set his squad priorities, and his arrival in the Germany national team is only a matter of time. So everyone around is promising something, and let me promise as well. If you subscribe to this channel right now, there will be much more high-quality football content here. And while you are subscribing, we move on. Amsterdam's Ajax is preparing a stunning behind-the-scenes sensation on the European market and has targeted the signing of the star German goalkeeper. As reported by the authoritative Spanish publication Mundo Deportivo, the 34-year-old goalkeeper of Catalan Barcelona, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, could become the first loud squad newcomer of the new head coach of the Dutch, Michel. The experienced captain, who spent the second half of last season on loan at Girona, turned out to be unneeded by his home club. Let us break down on what conditions the Blaugrana is ready to let the German go, and why this transfer is at the same time a brilliant and crazy risk for Amsterdam. If we evaluate this inside through the prism of squad logic, Ajax under the leadership of Michel, it is a chance to start a full global reset. However, the transfer move looks extremely risky, as lately the German goalkeeper has turned into a real walking hospital, receiving the same serious injuries in a circle. But if Ter Stegen can finally heal his knees and back and plays a full season, for the Dutch giant, it will be a powerful reinforcement. Guarding the gates in Amsterdam will be a performer of the highest world class. On the other hand, Catalan Barcelona, most likely, is ready to give their veteran absolutely for free and, what is more, will pay for his plane ticket to Amsterdam themselves. At the Camp Nou, the German no longer enters the strategic plans of the management, because the Blue Garnet have an ironclad number one, Joao Garcia, and he is backed up by the experienced Wojciech Szczesny. The main plus of letting the goalkeeper go is a colossal relief for the budget of the Catalans. Ter Stegen's insane salary stands at around 17 million euros a year, which heavily presses on financial fair play. Having gotten rid of such ballast, Barca will be able to calmly register new star newcomers, in particular the same Anthony Gordon. My opinion? For Ajax, the signing of Marc-Andre Ter Stegen is a very dangerous but completely justified step. Since the player comes as a free agent and for free, the Amsterdam side should definitely try to take the risk. If the German finally gets rid of chronic injuries and returns confidence, he will become the mental leader of the new team of Michel. By the way, Barcelona itself has maximally approached the closure of the key squad issue in defense, Saudi Al-Hilal made serious concessions in negotiations regarding Joao Cancelo. The Sheikhs are ready to significantly reduce the price for the Portuguese defender. Let us break down the new financial details of this deal, as the management of the Catalans pulled off a very profitable courtroom transaction. The Saudi club agreed to decrease its initial demands and is now ready to let the player of the Portugal national team go for a modest 8 to 10 million euros, although at the beginning of this summer it demanded at least 15 million euros. A huge role in the negotiations was played by the willpower of the football player himself. Cancelo made it clearly understood that he wants to perform exclusively for Barcelona and personally agreed to a significant reduction in wages. This noble decision will allow the club to fit into the strict limits of the Spanish financial fair play without any problems. So, taking a versatile defender of the level of Joao Cancelo for some 8 to 10 million euros is simply a squad robbery in broad daylight executed by the Catalans. The adequate price tag and the sincere desire of the Portuguese himself make this transfer one of the smartest moves of the club in recent years. Friends, thank you for watching, and if you liked the episode, do not spare a like and subscribe.